Hey there, thanks so much for checking out this video, the LinkedIn job attraction formula. We're going to cover 5 key secrets for making you more successful on LinkedIn during your job search. I learned these myself during my difficult job searches. I actually have a background in sales, and I have found that the job search really is a sales process. And so I've been able to really help people because I bring a sales angle with all my years of experience in sales. I bring those sales processes to my own job search and to the people that I help on their job searches. So let's dive right into the steps here. So first of all, the step one for the LinkedIn job attraction formula is to make yourself findable for jobs. So the backstory of this, of how I found this one out, was in my 2020 pandemic job search. 2 weeks in, I realized my LinkedIn profile was set to private. So shockingly enough, it was just as a terrifying thing to find out, but I actually was doing all this work to look for a job and no one could even find me. So I was hidden. So let's check yours together from your profile page on LinkedIn. Go ahead and pause this video, go pull up your LinkedIn, go to your profile page, and we're going to first of all click on the little arrow under your picture. Now, under that arrow, you're going to click and you're going to find settings and privacy. Okay. So you started off here, you click this arrow, your profile little pop up came up here. Click on settings and privacy first. Okay. You're going to navigate over into this little panel and you're going to click on visibility. The first thing you're going to do under visibility is you're going to select your name and headline. Okay. So that's going to make you generally visible, which is your first step. Okay. You're going to go back into visibility. You're going to click under edit your profile and you're going to make your profile public. Okay. That's the second step. You're going to make every single option visible. Okay. You want to make sure you show your profile photo, for example, make your profile photo public. You want to show all your skills, make sure these are all showing. This will change here from time to time in terms of the LinkedIn layout, but this is the workflow. And this is what you want to make sure that you do is make sure that both your photo is public on LinkedIn, but also your entire profile. And that makes you findable for jobs. So that's step number one. Step number two, you want to update your LinkedIn profile completely and attractively. So this is my profile from a few months ago on LinkedIn. And what you're going to do is from your profile page, you're going to click on this little pencil, which puts you in edit mode. And you can actually change your profile photo from here by clicking on this little picture of yourself. So that's pretty easy. You need a good profile picture. Honestly, a bad or a blank profile picture will cost you interviews. I noticed my own psychological behavior when I recently reviewed 268 profiles on LinkedIn myself. And I noticed that my eyes were skipping over everybody that didn't have a photo because it was like they didn't have the credibility. Like they didn't even know that. Like they didn't even know to have a photo. And then they also lost credibility for me if they had a grainy photo or a photo of them in a bar drinking a beer or on a boat holding up a fish. Those are not appropriate for LinkedIn. It's not that they're wrong. They're just not a good idea for LinkedIn. They're not very professional. So you're going to want to go ahead and click here where your picture is or where your blank is, and go ahead and make sure you have a good profile picture. You can click this pencil here to access the profile editor. Fill out every profile field. You know what? One more thing before I move on to the next thing, actually. One more thing is if you don't have a great photo of yourself, but you can at least take a selfie on your phone, then you can go to tryiton.ai. I think 21 bucks is their base package, and they'll actually take your crappy cell phone photo or whatever photo you have, and they'll up level it and they'll make it really nice. So try it on .ai. I want to recommend that to you because I've seen their example work and it's really good. You want to make sure you have a profile photo. Now, this one here I just took when I was on vacation with my wife in New Mexico. It's pretty basic, but it was good enough. So you don't have to be perfect and you don't have to necessarily spend money on. Next, you're going to click the pencil to access your profile editor like I talked about. Fill out every profile field in a detailed way and make sure you use good spelling and grammar. Remember, your LinkedIn is really an advertisement about you and about your career and about your worthiness. So make sure that you have good spelling, good grammar, and also that it's pretty detailed. Okay. List your city and state so you can be found by roles that are not remote. I know everybody wants to be remote these days, but that's a fraction of the jobs that are available. So let's make sure we go for both types, right? So list in your profile, make sure you do list the city that you're in so that the search engines that recruiters use on LinkedIn can actually find you. If this just says United States or Great Britain or India, that's a whole country. How are they going to know if you're close to the office? You know what I mean? So you got to put your location in there for that reason. And I hope you're pausing this and implementing these things as you go, because all of these are step-by-step strategies. Okay. Next, You're going to create a simple, catchy headline relevant to the job that you're seeking. In my case, my headline just says, helping people improve their business and career. So it's just a general headline, is all that is. Next, you're going to have an attractive background picture or graphic. Now, this is my prior graphic, which is nice. This is the Dallas skyline. I now have one that I created in canva.com for free. That is my motto and stuff like that. So there's different things that you can do, but you don't want to have no background up here. And it's better to not just use the baked in ones that LinkedIn provides, although those are better than having a blank. So it's levels of growth here. Okay. The next one is fill out your work history and your education. Make sure this matches your resume so that they are both consistent. This is the time to be detailed, and make sure you use some keywords in your work history, your experience there, because those keywords will be found by the recruiters who use the LinkedIn recruiter tool to find candidates. If you want to come follow me on LinkedIn, you can as well. You can come find me. It's Brian Howard, and I will connect to anybody. And also, I do post on topics like job search, like career improvement, and things of this nature. But also, you can just check out my profile because I have put a lot of time into mine. So I hope that helps you. Step 3, set your LinkedIn profile to open to work. So LinkedIn is used obviously for job searches a lot and for recruiting. So LinkedIn has this open to work setting, making you show up in the candidate search engine for recruiters, as well as people that are just browsing on LinkedIn will be able to see that you're available for work as well. So this is a really, really critical feature for you, and it's part of you being findable for jobs on LinkedIn. Okay. So on your profile page, you're going to click open to, and you're going to select finding a new job. So go back to your profile page and click on the open to and select finding a new job. Do you see how I did that here? I went to my profile, I clicked open to, and now I'm going to select here. I'm going to select finding a new job, right? So that's what you want to do. And that will be step number 1. Now, after that, you can fill out your job preferences like I did here. So I have 1. Now, it will let you choose up to 5. So make sure that you do select all 5 because, again, that makes you more findable because this is one of the search tags that LinkedIn Recruiter Tool search engine does use. So select all 5 and try to make sure that they're common industry things, not little niche names that you came up with, but try to come up with really broad topics that are in your field and in your category that would be most likely to be found by a recruiter tool. Okay. So there's a little bit of wordsmithing and care that you want to put into that. Okay. Also, we talked about this a second ago, but for workplaces, I would really like you to select all 3, select on-site, hybrid, and remote, because on the remote situation, I know that a lot of people just would prefer remote or they need to have remote. I know that, but also you want to make sure that you're open to be found for multiple opportunities, right? What if, for example, what if you think you want remote, but the office isn't too far from your house and they're okay with on the hybrid here with 1 day a week, right? You could probably figure that out, even with childcare you could probably figure that out, right? So let's make sure not to limit ourselves too much here. And then also make sure we talked about this, but make sure you don't just have like United States or Great Britain or Canada or something in your location. Make sure you do list the city because, again, that search engine recruiting tool, it's called LinkedIn Recruiter, does depend on location. And so you could literally be invisible for jobs and not found. Okay. Also, choose who sees that you're open. You can decide with your option here whether or not you want everybody on LinkedIn to be able to see that you're looking for a job. If you aren't employed right now, then you have no reason for an employer to be concerned that an employer might see that you're in open to work status. So you might want to use that. But if you are employed and you're looking for a job, then you can certainly choose to just show recruiters. So there's 2 options as you're selecting open to work. There is an optional open to work green banner you can use around your picture if desired. Now, psychology here. Again, I've told you I looked at 268 profiles on LinkedIn. I took a week off of work and I was doing research around Job Seeker Pro. And that's one of the things that I did was I reviewed 268 profiles one by one. And I noticed that when I was finding people that were open to work, if they had the green banner, I spent time on them. So I'm just letting you know that from a psychology standpoint, someone who's showing that comes across as you're transparent, you're open, and that you're a detailed person because you're using that banner. Okay. Well, the thing to think about here is that all these settings help people find you. So you're making it easy for people to find you. Okay. Step 4 is recommendations on LinkedIn. Now I see that a lot of people have no recommendations whatsoever. Think about all the people that would be willing to write you a short recommendation. I mean, it's a 3-minute time investment on their part. And then it helps boost your profile on LinkedIn by showing that people have good things to say about your work. If you were hiring, just think about the psychology here. We talk about psychology a lot on Job Seeker Pro, but if you were hiring and you had two equal candidates on LinkedIn, one of them had some recommendations and the other person had no recommendations at all, the psychology there is that one is more competent than the other. So just go ahead and make this happen for yourself. It's a few minutes of work. Recommendations are really easy. I'm going to show you here in a couple of seconds with screenshots on this very page. Follow this process. And I would recommend that you ask 12 or 15 former coworkers or current coworkers, former bosses, that kind of thing, professors. Ask several for recommendations. I think if you ask for 12 or 15, you probably get 7 or 8 that will write a recommendation for you. The process is really easy. You scroll down in your profile page on LinkedIn, you scroll down to recommendations, you click this little plus, you ask for a recommendation, you put in a name of somebody that you know that you think maybe would be willing to consider writing a recommendation. And then the workflow, it automatically invites them. And then so you fill this out here and you send it. So it's that easy. It's probably 35 seconds for you to do that. So I'm thinking in probably like 15 minutes max, you can invite 15 people. And then at least you would have 5 or 6, I would say, recommendations from that. And then look at mine. So I've got a bunch of them on my profile. You can check them out. And so people get a little bit of a sense of who you are by, we're all in a tribe. We look for recommendations from each other. And so people get to learn a little bit about you. And then you get to have a third party talk about you. And then the last part, the thing that really worked for me just magically during my job search was my LinkedIn posting. So I know some of you are not comfortable posting on LinkedIn. I totally respect that, but you need to make yourself post. Now you've got ChatGPT that can help you as well. And then what that does when you post on LinkedIn is it keeps you in front of your market. It keeps you in front of the job market. Okay. It lets people get to know you. It also increases your reach and you start to have more connections on LinkedIn from that as well. But I had two CEOs approach me from these exact LinkedIn strategies. Now, I do have more strategies than this that I cover in my free webinar, which you can go check out at jobseeker.pro/fast. And that's my fast start webinar. I took 4 months to build that. It's really worthwhile. And I dig into some of these and more. In fact, LinkedIn is only one of 4 topics that I cover on that webinar. You'll really appreciate it once you check it out. Jobseeker.pro/fast. But let's go ahead and wrap up. So step number 5 is to attract jobs with daily LinkedIn posting. Now I had multiple jobs come to me that were attracted to me from my posting on LinkedIn during my job search. I was probably posting 5 to 6 times per week. If you will at least commit to posting Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 kind of thing, I think that would be probably fine. I think that would be plenty. I think you're going to outdo 90% of your job search competitors by posting like that. People associate you with your posts as well, by the way. They learn about you. They learn your intelligence. They learn your attitude, your skill level, what kind of person you are, if you're positive, if you're creative, whatever. But here are 3 post tips for you. First of all, post a success story from your work history. You've got a lot of things that you've covered in your work, or even if you're right out of school, talk about a project and what you learned from a school project. That's fine too. But post a success story from your history is the secret there. Post a strategy, a tip, or a best practice relevant to your type of role as well. I think that would be just absolutely powerful for you. We want to hear what strategies you have. We want to hear what ideas you have. And then finally, post about your work process. How do you solve problems? What I really recommend, and in my personal coaching, what I recommend people do as well, is we always create a little PowerPoint that boils down what are their top things that they typically do at work that help to sort of make a project successful or turn something around or fix something. What do they typically do? And then what we do is we usually put a fancy PowerPoint behind that with my students. And but you don't have to necessarily go through that full process, but talk about in your posting, what is your process? How do you address problems? And maybe give some examples as well. So those are 3 ideas on posting. I provide more on my free webinar. So jobseeker.pro/fast. I highly recommend it. I would take action on that. It has proven to be extremely successful. Good luck. And I wish you a fast and successful job search.